In today's video, we're going to show you how to renovate this bathroom here. We're going to show you how to take this old, ugly, water-damaged bathroom, and we're going to show you how to remodel it into this beautiful modern classic. As part of this remodeling, we're going to show you how to completely demolish the bathroom. We're going to show you how to remove the vanity. We're going to show you how to chip up the old bathroom floor tile here, how to install Schluter DITRA on the floor there, and we're going to show you how to tile the bathroom floor. We're going to show you how to install a new vanity and how to install a new toilet. We are also going to show you how to move the electrical box for your vanity light because it will be off center now. And it all starts right now. Hey everyone, Jeff here again. Welcome back to the channel where we give you world-class renovation tips on how to renovate your bathroom and how to renovate your kitchen and how to install flooring and tiling and all sorts of other engineering disasters around your house. If this is your first time here on the channel, make sure that you subscribe below by clicking on that subscribe button and then hit the bell icon so that you'll be alerted right away. Now here we are in this bathroom here, and you can see it's had water exposure in too many places. You can see how the mirror has already chipped up there and behind it. That's usually a telltale sign. And what is with this light in the middle? That's an actual heating lamp that somebody stuck in the middle there. And then the ugly patch job here on the drywall up on the wall here above the mirror. So there's a lot of things that we're going to fix here, and keep in mind it's 90 degrees now in the middle of June here in Florida, and they had that ugly light there. And you could see over the years people have tried to put silicone, or I don't know what kind of caulk, along the bottom of the bathtub there to seal up where the tiles were, but they didn't caulk it properly. They got way too much and left too much residue behind on the tub. We're not going to address that in this particular video here, but here you can see we've already taken off the mirror, and typically a mirror will have like these 5 globs here. And once you tear off those globs, you're left with bare paper here, and you can't just put drywall mud over that and expect it to work. The problem is when you get that paper wet, it's going to ripple on you. So we'll show you a little later on how we're going to fix that. And you can see here on the vanity here, we have to score across all of the caulk there and the silicone that was there in order to be able to separate this vanity from the wall. Okay, so now you're going to see here we're going to start scoring it with the utility knife here. We've sped it up into time lapse for you, and while we're at it, we're going to do the medicine cabinet there as well. So score around the edge of that, unscrew it, and take it out. You can see the corrosion on the metal hose here for the toilet, and look at the flange there against the wall. There's been a lot of water and moisture in this bathroom that shouldn't be. It's causing all the corrosion. Now here I'm using my shop vac to suction out all of the water from the bowl, and we'll do it from the tank as well. You need to make sure that your shop vac is set up into wet vac mode, which usually means you have to remove that filter that's out of there first. You don't want any paper filters in there when you're using your vacuum there in a shop vac, in a wet vac mode. So here we just suction all of the water out of the bottom of the tank completely. Makes removing the toilet a lot easier. The toilet bolts were frozen in place, so we had to use our angle grinder. Now here you see we have to cap off the toilet flange there so that the methane vapors don't come up through the sewer. So here we go. We're getting pretty close with the demo here. The toilet's gone. The mirror's gone. And now we're going to concentrate on the actual removal of the vanity here. And of course you have to turn off all the water first, because you can see those flanges on the back there, those little round plates. Those are blocking the vanity from being able to come off the wall. So we have to cut off the water, and we're going to remove the hoses and remove these valves, so then we can pull the vanity off of that back wall there, because all of that hardware there is keeping it secured to the wall at the present time. And I gotta tell you, I just love this rigid all-in-one wrench set that I use for doing all of my angle stops and stuff like that. This wrench set is made specifically for doing these nuts. It's perfectly sized. And I will leave a link to this wrench set on Amazon for you down in the description, so you can go and check it out for yourself. And now for undoing the P-trap, you always want to make sure you have a bucket underneath there to capture all the water, because there is always water in your P-trap. So you have to be able to capture that and then dump it out there. So you can see I have to pull off the nut there on the left side and on the right side for the hot and cold water. That flange in the middle has to come off of the drain pipe. So we have a little bit of work to do here. As you know, building code requires you to have all base cabinets screwed into the wall, either into blocking or into studs. So we just have to find the one or two screws they may have used and undo them. Well, as you can see, this vanity did not come willingly. Sometimes we've seen with older vanities like this, they will glue them to the back and on the side to the wall that you can't see or you can't get to it. So sometimes it's very destructive pulling out the vanity. We usually try to pull the vanity out in one piece so that we can sell it on Craigslist, even for $10, $20, to avoid it going into the landfill. But you can see here, everything had to go out on bulk trash pickup day instead anyways, despite our best efforts. So here we are, and picking up some DITRA here. We got a roll of 3 feet by 15 feet, should be enough to put down in this bathroom, and a box of Curdy band to waterproof the seams. Okay, so now you can see we are dry fitting our Schluter DITRA product down onto the floor here. And if you've never heard or seen of DITRA before, this is a very nice product to have. It's an uncoupling membrane for tile floors, and it also is used in waterproofing and vapor management and support and load distribution for your tiles. So this prevents cracked tiles and grout, and it's quick and easy to install, and it's just a lightweight alternative to having to use cement backer board. Now this is the second floor of a townhouse, a 2-story townhouse, and usually you have wood subfloors, and we think there is a wood subfloor here, but maybe the builder poured a level of cement on top of it. They do that sometimes too, but either way, it never hurts to put down this DITRA even on a cement floor on the second floor. But anyway, it's always been my policy on an upper floor to put DITRA down. And if you ever have, wood subfloors on a second floor, I would never in a million years consider tiling without putting some type of crack isolation membrane like this DITRA down. So you can see how it works. It has all of these little, looks like waffle, little waffle holes or cells on them. So the way this works is you set it down in the mortar first, kind of like doing tiles, and then those cells get filled in with the mortar. And that way, once it's all filled in with mortar and those cells are separated by those gaps that are, I guess they're air filled, but they act kind of as shock absorbers here. And then you can see that this is a modified mortar that we're using. We're using the Schluter's All Set, which is made specifically to work specifically with DITRA and Curdy and all of their other products. But it takes the guesswork out of, do I need to use modified thin set or unmodified thin set? Because as long as you use Schluter's All Set on their products, you can use it across the board on their products without having to worry about switching to the modified thin set or the unmodified thin set as required by different materials in their family of products. So here you can see we have basically 2 sheets of it dry fitted, and we're going to fill the seam in the middle with Curdy band. Okay, so this is the preferred trowel to use. So they want you to use this one here. It's a 1/4 inch by 3/16 V-notch trowel. So you could use this one, or you could use the official Curdy trowel, which I believe is 1/8 by 1/8 square trowel, square notch trowel. Now here, where the Schluter DITRA meets the bathtub, we have to apply silicone to help complete the waterproofing of the connection there. Okay, so here you tool down the silicone because you don't want it to pile up and lose your ability to make a good 90-degree corner here with the Curdy band. Right here, you're seeing that we're starting to lay down some of the mortar bed here for the Curdy band that we have to install here at this connection. So the Curdy band will help make this connection here waterproof. So you can see what you do here is just lay the Curdy band flat on top, all the way up against the bathtub there, and it will sit on top of the silicone as well. And then we'll use our trowel and just trowel out the extra. So you can see it's been installed there all the way across, and we've got most of the mortar in place, filling in all of the little waffle holes. Okay, so here you can see we're just dry testing, putting some tiles down and figuring out what's the best way to make this look. So as we look around in here, we figured with this tile this would look really nice with a subway pattern tile. It'll look very classy, instead of the old grid line look that most people use. Now, one thing I wanted to point out for you is that when you're doing subway pattern with tiles like this, the subway pattern is very friendly for first-time tilers, or if you don't have much experience and you're not very confident about getting a good straight grout line going all the way across the room, because the subway pattern breaks up that straight grid line that goes across the room. So you could be off by 1/4 inch here and the eye might not notice it. So that's good for first-time tilers to do this with a subway pattern as well. Okay, so now what we are doing here is I'm going to measure where we're going to make the cut. And what I do is I just put it about 1/4 inch from the wall, because that's where I'm going to place it. And then I'll make a mark here allowing for an 1/8 inch grout line right there. Okay, and this is row number 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'll write that here on the blue tape piece. And since the cuts will be less than half a piece, I'll be able to use the other side of it here as well. This here will be row number 5, so I'll write a 5 on here. So this way I can pre-cut all of my pieces and make sure I have them ready. And by the way, don't cut all of them the same size going across, because the wall can curve in and out and you won't have the same sizes. That's why it's important to custom fit and custom cut each one of these rows here, the end pieces, and then number them and have them ready to go, just like a puzzle piece. Okay, that's row number 5. Okay, so if you look here, you can see I'm going to size up how big we should make our baseboard pieces. So I'm going to cut up some baseboard pieces that run along there that are going to be made out of the tile. So here I want to be strategic about it, because this is really my only limiting factor on the whole wall, is this flange that's going to be around the pipe there. So let's take a closer look at that guy there. So what I want to do is I want to cut the height of my tile there so that it comes up above the top the flange there, so that the flange will still be able to rest on it. So I figure if I do it right around here, somewhere in that area, that should be okay, and it'll give me plenty of wiggle room. And then afterwards, after we cut the piece, we'll have to drill a hole in the middle of it to go around the pipe. Now this is very easy. We just unscrew the little cap here. We've done this a million times before, and we'll take off that top there because we won't be using that anyway. But the hole will fit right around the pipe and everything there. And we'll take the flange off. It's one of those split plastic ones there. See? So that comes right off. Okay, so now in order to figure out where to do the hole and everything, the vertical location of it, we'll have to wait until after this piece of tile here has been set into the mortar, because it will be higher up, most likely about 1/4 inch or so, if I use a 1/2 inch trowel and they flatten down. So we'll have to see, we'll play that by ear, but I won't take that vertical measurement until that time. But I can take the horizontal measurement by putting the piece in place and marking it. Alright, so what I'll do is I line the piece up horizontally to the tile that it's going to sit on. See how they're lined up right here? And then I'll just go ahead and mark the hole on either side. It's going to be, I believe it's a 1/4 inch hole. But at least now I know my vertical distance. So what we don't know yet is what the horizontal lines are going to be here for the vertical height. So again, we'll get that once we have this first row of tiles cemented down, set into the tile mortar. Well, it was bound to happen sooner or later. After numerous years of doing tiling, this was bound to happen. You see all those little footprints there on the mortar? So there was a tenant living in the unit there while we were doing this work. And apparently when we left this out to dry overnight, somehow his dog, who was supposed to be caged up, got out and walked all over it and got the footprints all over the wet mortar there. So now it looks like Neil Armstrong's first footprints on the moon there. One small step for dog. So now these are everywhere. They're all over on the DITRA there. And what are you going to do? Well, you just use a scraper to scrape down all of the high points there. We didn't lose too much time, maybe a half hour total, because we did have to go around the whole floor on there and scrape all of them up and re-vacuum and scrape again and vacuum again. But we did eventually get all of it there, get it grinded down nice and smooth. And then just before you're ready to tile, when you come in with your thin set mortar and you start keying it into the floor, that will fill in all of these little gaps here now. So it really won't be a problem for you in the end. It's basically a non-issue. It's really nothing to worry about, although it actually looks much worse than it is when you first see it. Now here you can see we're using our Ruby tile saw here. We score and cut all of the straight tiles here. The only time I use the wet saw is really when I need an angled cut here. Now if you have really super textured tiles, sometimes these tile scoring tools don't work. Alright, so we're starting to tile now. And so I'm going to key in the mortar just into the first row, maybe a little bit into the second row, just so we can get the first row of tiles down. So I really like using this all set. It's very creamy, smooth and creamy, very easy to work with. Keys in easily. I've worked with mortars before that just don't want to key in no matter what you do. Okay, now I'm going to trowel it with a 1/2 inch. Right there, this way, and this way, nice and straight. Alright, so I'm going to take my first tile and I'm going to back butter in good. Just make sure the cells are filled in on the back. Make sure it's keyed in, that way we know we have pretty good adhesion. I aim for 100% coverage when I do this. Love this back butter buddy. I've been using it for years. Oven a little bit there. I'm going to put these little blue shims in there to separate it from the tub by 1/8 of an inch. That way I can come back in and caulk it later. Put my spirit level on there. Make sure that we're level in all directions. This side needs to come down a little bit. I think we're there. I think we have the first piece in. Our cornerstone piece is in nice and flat. See, it's crucial that you check multiple directions when you're doing this. And actually this has the bubble on the top that you can look through also. So you go this way, you go that way, and you make sure. Okay, so now I'm going to clear about 3/4 of an inch or so there from the end, so I can stick in my little Remodel spacers there. And then I can set the next tile. And I'm going to put my little blue shim in there. And the other one down at the other end. Okay, now we're going to put the wedges in. Make sure those are at the same level. And likewise, you can tell the second piece is nice and level. And when I look down, straight down into the bubble, he's perfect. Same thing over here, we're going to put the clips in. Alright, here's piece number 1, back buttered, ready to go. Click those guys in. Put the spirit level there, make sure it doesn't wiggle. It's perfectly level there. A little bit off there. Let me see, what do we have to do? We have to lower this end. And that's how you know you've done it right, when you lay a 4-foot level across the 3 tiles and it's perfect. It doesn't rock or anything. Nice and rock steady. See that? Doesn't go that way. Doesn't seesaw at all. So now that we have the first row placed here, and it's at the finished height, now I can place our baseboard tile up against it there and measure the height of our pipe. So let's see if I can do that. And then down here. So all I have to do is draw the intersection between those two lines and drill right there in the middle. So this is it. That's the diamond. That is the diamond hole saw right there. Okay, so now we're going to take our piece with the hole in it and try to get it in there without having to take that knob off. And I got it. Textbook. It's in the perfect spot. Right there. Just want to jack him off the floor a little bit just so he's not touching the floor. Make sure these two are level, plumb, true. Okay, so here we are the next morning. The tile has had overnight to dry. And wouldn't you know, we had the 2 cases of tile, but we ran just shy. I had to go buy a whole nother case just to get these 3 smaller pieces here done. And the 4th one that will go there to the left of the cabinet. But the floor came out very nice. Our tile leveling system did its job quite well. And you can see our spirit level shows everything is nice and level. Okay, so you can see that it's nice and level across the floor, and even if I turn the level there at a 45-degree angle, you can see it's nice and level. It should be level all the way around, no matter what degree we put it at. There shouldn't be any rocking. See how it's nice and perfect? That's because we use that tile leveling system, so it kept all of these tiles perfect with no lippage between the tiles, and so it stayed nice and flat all the way across, you know. You won't see any gaps running underneath the level as you go across the floor. Okay, so now over here you can see we have all of these holes here in the paper left behind by when we took off the mirror. And also if you look down here, You can see this is common for us. We see this a lot behind the toilet. When you remove the toilet, there's usually old samples of wallpaper or adhesive and backing paper and stuff. And so this will have to be sealed up and over. So in years past, I used to waste a lot of time trying to trowel over these with drywall mud. And the problem is you can't mud over this. You can't mud over the paper. Because what happens is the paper gets wet and it starts to ripple. And then you have to let that dry, and then you come in the next day with your second coat and it re-wets it and it gets rippled again. So you're basically wasting time. 5 or 6 layers later, maybe you get something, and it's still not perfect. So we found out a way to get around this with our friend Paul Peck from Paul Peck Drywall channel. You got to go check out his channel. I'll put a link to that down in the description. He's one of the most knowledgeable drywallers out there. And he told us about this product to use to get around this. So this is it here. It's called Guard-Z, and it's made by Zinsser, and this is a problem surface sealer. So what you do with this stuff here is you take this and you roll it onto the wall there, and what it does is it seals up all of these paper areas here so that now it's completely waterproof and it locks down torn drywall. This product is specifically designed just to do that. That's its only function in life. So we'll roll down over all of that, and then once that's done, you let it dry a couple of hours, and then you can come back and do drywall mud, float it up nicely there, and then go ahead and get it nice and flat. Alright, so I'll put a link to this down in the description there for you. This is not available at Home Depot, so I always have to order it online, but I'll give you the link to it. So then you can come by and add your skim coat of drywall mud. So we're probably just going to skim coat this whole wall to make it look pretty even. Then we'll patch up these 2 holes here, and the vanity is going to go back here. So I'm not going to go into a whole lot of trouble to make it look absolutely perfect there, because that will be blocking everything once it's all done. Okay, so now here for the vanity light, I don't even know how in the world this happened or how anybody got away with this, but there's no outlet box. There's supposed to be an outlet box, and whoever installed this put it way too low. This is just above my head right here. This is your medicine cabinet. Mirror will go here. So what I want to do is move this up probably a foot, a lot closer to the ceiling. Luckily we can do that because it looks to me like the Romex is coming straight out of the wall from above. Had it been coming from below, we'd be in trouble. We would not be able to move it up. But in this case, we're just going to channel a little channel up there and then make a cutout for our box. And we'll put in our new box. Okay, now these are always things you need to consider when you're changing a vanity. The vanity that was here before was 24 inch and we're going up to 30 inch. So the center is no longer 12 inches off the wall. It's 15 inches up here. See, from that wall to over here. But it looks like for some reason, whoever had mounted this light had it like off center there anyway. It really belongs over the middle of the vanity. And we know that our new vanity, the center drain is going to be right here, 15 inches off the wall. So we're going to put this outlet box right here. And that's where the light will be. Guess we won't have to cut into the wall at all. We can just pull the wire up. Oh, we got really lucky on this one. Yeah, there's been times in the past where I had to completely redo stuff. I don't like the way they left this length of wire though, so we'll have to cut it back. So this is going to go there. finished product on the light. All LED, no bulbs to ever have to change. Okay, so we're getting ready to put in the toilet now. And there you can see we have our Sienna seal, the green waxless ring in place. It's like a foam rubber. I've been using that the last few years. It's a lot neater and cleaner than dealing with the wax rings. Just put in another one here over the toilet. Here's our finished product. There's the tiled floor, the new toilet, the new vanity, the new medicine cabinet, the new mirror, the new LED vanity light, and because we're then back on this side here, we have a towel rack and a toilet paper holder. Now, normally I wouldn't put the toilet paper holder underneath the towel rack, but we had no choice here because of the layout here. You couldn't move the towel rack over because of the door. Okay. And some people will put it on the side of the vanity too, but we opted not to do that, so that left us only one spot right there. See how the LED comes on here? Let me turn off the light here so you can see. Pretty cool. This is a really nice mirror too. It's like a pewter color right there. Looks like hammered pewter, but it goes well with the brushed nickel that we have in here. Inside the vanity, you can see it is made of high quality wood. No particle board, and the drawers are all soft close. Well, that's it. These are going into the trash, folks, and we hope you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please give us a thumbs up below. That tells us that you like us. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below and click on the bell icon. That will tell you every time we get a video uploaded. And we hope you enjoyed this one, and we will see you next time.